everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today we have an exciting review of the latest release from LANCôME. It is the new version of LANCôME Idole called Idole Now. So I'm going to be taking you through the whole Idole range and let you know how they all differ and what this new one smells like. If you're new here, then hello, welcome. We're all about perfumes. I have hundreds of videos just like this, going through whole ranges, as well as my blog, SokiLondon.com, that does the same. So do check them out. And if you're a regular viewer, do make sure you're subscribed and give the video a thumbs up. That really helps me. And as always, I'll put in the description box a link to where you can buy these perfumes all around the world where they're available, as well as where you can shop my perfumes, Empress and Aphrodite, and my vegan soy wax candles. Cool. So LANCôME Idole has been out for a few years, and if you're a regular here, you'll know that I really rate LANCôME perfumes. I find that their quality is great, the lasting power, Le Vieille Belle, Idole, the Trésor range, you know, I really think they're really good. And the whole Idole range is really focused around a rose note, and they all have quite a common theme. So the original Idole, which I have here,
Idole,
is a refreshing but long-lasting rose and pear fragrance. So when you first spray it, you initially get this very fresh pear. I love pear top notes. Really pretty, feminine, giving me slightly Coco Mademoiselle vibes. And then you get rose and a bit of musk coming through. It's very versatile. I recommend this a lot for the office, for every day. It's feminine without being too feminine, and it's a very modern rose. It's not like an old-fashioned rose. And I find it really sticks around and lasts, and they're all eau de parfums, all the Idole range. So after this came out, they released one called Idole Intense, Le Intense.
I can. We will.
Idole L'Intense, the new fragrance, LANCôME.
Now I can confirm, I've checked with LANCôME and they have confirmed that that one is discontinued. That one was quite different. It had some more orangey notes in, and it had some woody undertones as well. It was more autumn winter. It is discontinued though, I know. I have seen it around on the internet, so I'll find where it's still sold and leave it linked down below for you guys. But the Intense was probably the least popular. It was probably my least favorite from the range, so I can see why they've discontinued it, and you know, having 4 different perfumes is more than enough. So we then have Idole Aura.
Idole Aura, the new fragrance, LANCôME.
Which is this one that has the sort of whitish back on it. Now this one has a bit of vanilla in, so it's definitely the sweetest out of the range and the sexiest. It's perhaps a little bit more evening and has quite a cozy vibe to it as well. So you spray it, and there's none of that sort of fresh top note. Instead, you're getting a rosy vanilla. So it's a little bit more creamy, a little bit more complex, I guess, and interesting. And I definitely recommend this for evenings any time of year. For daytime, I'd say autumn, winter. I think the vanilla would be a bit too much for spring, summer. But again, lasting power and everything is great on this. So we then have LANCôME Idole Nectar.
Idole, the new eau de parfum Nectar, LANCôME.
This one has this kind of iridescent, pearlescent vibe to it. Now this one has a popcorn note in, which is quite rare in perfumes, and it came out just before my first perfume, Empress, came out, which also has a popcorn note in. So I was a bit like, oh my god, they got there before me. Actually, I don't really get much popcorn in this. For me, this is still very much a rose perfume, whereas in my Empress, you definitely do get the popcorn more than the rose. So you're getting a fresh rose, and then underneath there's like hints of a vanilla-y caramel popcorn, you know, like opening up a bag of popcorn, Butterkiss popcorn. That's there in the base, and it is noticeable, but it's not like intense. And it's definitely still a rose perfume mainly. Again, I think because of that sweetness, perhaps it's more evening time. You could definitely layer it on top of the others. They all layer really well together because they all have that same core rose note. And I think this one has done pretty well for them. So now we get on to the new one, Idole Now. So this is what it looks like.
Join the ride now.
Idole, the eau de parfum, and the new Idole Now, LANCôME.
Now this is probably most similar to the original. I definitely like it. I was wearing it yesterday. It's again a rose, but what we have is a kind of vanilla-y orchid underneath. And that's the type of scent that you get in Calvin Klein Euphoria, almost a bit flower bomb, but there's no patchouli in here. So this for me is like a 2020s version of the original Calvin Klein Euphoria. It's a little bit less innocent than the original because it doesn't have that pear. It's definitely feminine. It could be worn day or night, I think, this one. And I think it might actually become my favorite in the range. I do love an orchid note in perfumes. It's quite a strong note. It lasts and comes through well, which you wouldn't expect from orchid, which is such a delicate plant. If anyone has any tips on how to make my orchid flower, by the way, I've had it years and it's just leaves. Please let me know in the comments. I think it adds a little bit of a greenness to the fragrance as well, which is nice. And that brings out the greenness of the rose. And the vanilla that's in here is very subtle. It's not like Aura. It's not really noticeable. You wouldn't really know it was there. For me, the orchid is really coming through with the rose. So it's not overly like flowery. It's more just like a feminine, nice fragrance. I think it's very versatile, very difficult to dislike, quite a safe blind buy. And if you like any of the other Idols, you'll definitely like this. I really like this. I think this will do really well for them. Definitely Soki approved, as is the whole range. I did also want to mention, do you remember this limited edition of the original that has this star on? I'm obsessed with it. It's so beautiful. I have still seen this online, so I'll leave the links to where I've still found it if you want this, because I've noticed you can get it like really reduced, and I just think it's so cool. One thing I know that people talked a lot about in the original was that the whole sort of marketing campaign talked a lot about the fact that it was like the world's thinnest perfume, and I have to say they are great for traveling. You can fit these, you know, easily anywhere. The little 30 mils are a little square and they fit really well in your handbag. But what people didn't like is the fact that it doesn't really stand up. So since then, they've changed the bottle. So all the bottles now have a slightly round base, so it stands up no problem. And it doesn't really affect the fact that it doesn't, like, it's still pretty good for fitting in things. I've just noticed actually this new one doesn't have the metal on the side. Oh, neither does Nectar. Okay, so the original and Aura have like metal on the side, but Nectar and Now don't. They do feel slightly thicker as well. The LANCôME Idole perfumes are all refillable as well, but I think you have to go to a LANCôME refill station to get them refilled. I don't think you can buy refills. They also have a hair mist, which I recommend. I'm really getting into hair mists to help layer the fragrance, and I always end up spraying perfume in my hair, and I find it helps it, like, can really smell it as I move around, but it is bad for your hair. So the hair mists are made to not be as bad for your hair. So I do recommend that as well. If you're in the UK, you can get LANCôME Idole on Look Fantastic and get 20% off with my code LFTFSOKI. I'll leave it all linked down below. But yeah, let me know if you've managed to try the new Idole Now. What do you think? And let me know what your favorite is from the 5 different ones in the range. I do read all your comments, so let me know in the comments. But that's it, guys. So thanks so much for watching as always, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.